Hello friends, it's Iona here. I hope you're having an amazing week. Here is your tarot update for the second last week of February. So this week we have some really wonderful cards. Like, I'm so excited about this week's reading. First card is the World. Amazing card. The best card. The best card, fact. Second card is the King of Cups. Another fantastic card. Then third card is we have the King of Wands. Great card. And then we have the Five of Swords, which is like in relation to this week's reading. It's really, really good and really interesting. Okay, so let's get started. We have the World card. So this is the most positive card in the pack in terms of readings. So what I got with this card, so it's a successful completion, and it is the symbol for heaven on earth. How can we create heaven on earth? How do we do this? By using our minds and our bodies to create heaven on earth. So that is by utilizing the amazing heart energy, by doing heart meditations, and by using our minds to affirm and to immediately feel better through knowing that well-being is only a thought and a feeling away. Okay, so the feeling that I'm getting from this card this week is that globally we will begin to see triumphs of triumphs of order over chaos. So the world seems very chaotic at the moment, and this has a lot to do with the energies, the Schumann resonance, and the peaks and troughs in the Schumann resonance. I've been keeping track of it this past 2 weeks, and we've been going up into the 50s. So the baseline, if you don't know what the Schumann resonance is, it's recorded in Russia, and it's basically the heartbeat of planet Earth. It's the baseline frequency of planet Earth, and her baseline frequency is 7.83 hertz, and we have been going up to the 50s and back down to the teens, and then up to the 40s and back down again to like the low numbers, 3s and 4s, 14s, 15s, up to 45, back down to 14, things like that. So this up and down peaks and troughs of the energy spikes is really shaking. It's Gaia, it's planet Earth, it's the world shaking loose any systems and systems of control, systems of thinking, ways of being that no longer fit the new paradigm, no longer fit the new world. And what is the new world? The new world is elevated consciousness. The new world is heaven on earth, which is what this card signifies. And we can access this heaven on earth at any time, at any place. It's a feeling inside of us. It's not external. It's not going somewhere else. It's not being transmuted and traveling to a different universe or a different dimension. It's here. It's on this planet. But it's a way of being, it's a way of thinking, and it's a way of feeling. And it's a knowing that well-being and harmony is only a thought and a feeling away. Our feelings create the thoughts inside of our minds. So if we can have a feeling of love, a feeling of abundance, a feeling of well-being, then the laws of the universe state that the next feeling and thought after that must be very similar. And I'll talk about that a little bit further with the other cards. So this card has a cycle, has a circle, a wreath in it, and the wreath is the cycle. So every couple of thousand years, every 20,000 years, every 2,000 years, every couple of thousands of years, there's a cycle. A cycle changes, and we have just come out of a cycle and are going into a new cycle. And for me, this is what this card signifies and symbolizes, is that new cycle. And this card is just, I'm so excited about this card, because this card, not only does it see the triumph of order over chaos, it also means success, special reward, togetherness, and celebration. And the crosses are the cycle coming to an end, and then starting back up again in a new cycle. So we've come out of the Pisces age, we're now into the Aquarian age, and it's a new cycle. It's so exciting. And another thing, I'm going to refer back to this card a few times because this was the first card that jumped out at me. And this is usually the first card signifies like the theme and the tone of all the other cards that I pull from the deck. So this card is, what I'm getting from this card is optimism. So optimism on this planet, in this current time, in this current paradigm, it can be seen as a really dirty word, okay? If you're an optimist, you're seen as a little bit of a hippie, a little bit kind of, you know, silly. Optimism, people tend to look at you like with the side eye, with the stink eye. Do you mean like, ugh, you know, she's too happy, I don't like her, or, you know, stuff like that. So we are encouraged, from a young age, we're encouraged to disregard optimism and go for, you know, the life of the pessimist, the realist, and the skeptic. These are what people would rather refer to themselves as optimists, because for them, they feel it's easier to be skeptic and to never look forward to something, because then when something good happens, it's a surprise for them. And I believe that is a very damaging way to live, because if you say these things about yourself, if you say that you're an eternal pessimist or that you're a skeptic, you're actually shutting out. You're shutting yourself off from the magic of chance, of synchronicity, and pleasant surprises. If you say, I don't like to be optimistic because it means that when I'm surprised, it's amazing. But then what if you're surprised every day? What if you wake up and you say, this day is going to be the best day ever? And by affirming and saying these things in your mind, it turns out to be the best day ever. It's the same as when you're, if you are currently in a chronic state of pain, if you have an injury, if you're not well, by constantly affirming to yourself that you're not well and that you're in a chronic state of pain, if you're in a certain mental state, then you're just filling your body full of the chemicals that says, yes, you are. And if this is the fact that you're saying that you are, we're going to prove it to you by showing you that you are. So in order for you to pull yourself out of that state of being, you must tell yourself something new and tell yourself something different. And that includes looking forward to things, being optimistic, and knowing that well-being and perfect health is literally a thought and a feeling away, and it can be as easy as that. So on that note, here's the next card, King of Cups. So this past 2 weeks, I have I think it was the Four of Cups or the Three of Cups that showed up for us, and that was the card where there was the lonely man sitting by the tree, and then a little cloud appeared in this little hand with an extra cup manifested out of the cloud. So this card for me is the answer to the last 2 weeks, the last two readings we had that the Four of Cups pop out at us. And the reason was because I am putting this video out to friends and people that I know people who I have on Facebook, people who I know on YouTube, people who I know on Instagram, who I've met over the past few years, who perhaps have been like hiding themselves away and shutting themselves away because they don't think very little. They think quite very little of themselves. They don't think highly of themselves. And this card is an answer to that card. And I had quite a lot of people messaging me over the past few weeks saying that they felt like I was talking to them personally, telling them that they've been in the shadows for too long and they've been hiding and they've not really been putting themselves out there for fear of what other people think. And basically last week and the week before, I told you to get out, to get yourself out there and to start like being yourself, and you'll find and attract people who enjoy your company and who want to be around you. So this card is a sensitive and highly social individual, right, who is sensitive to other people's feelings, who might have a tendency to suppress or control their own feelings for the sake of others, okay? So this is a reply to the Four of Cups in the previous two readings, that the person who has been hiding this whole time, probably because of the fear of what others think or the fear of being hurt, it's time for you to manage those emotions. It's time for you to use a good way of managing those emotions is to use affirmations, to affirm, to do tapping. So if you're not sure what tapping is, I'm a big fan of tapping. So a good friend of mine, Amanda, big shout out to Amanda Trainer. She is an amazing hypnotherapist, and she basically teaches you how to, it's called faster EFT tapping, and basically like you're cutting off the thought process and the neural pathway by tapping certain parts of your body whilst telling yourself a positive affirmation, and it means that it works wonders. Try it out, like it's phenomenal. If you want to get in touch with Amanda, Mrs. Brain Trainer, Scotland's Brain Trainer on Instagram and Facebook. So it's time for you to manage your emotions, and you can manage your emotions. You can manage those feelings and those emotions by using techniques that other people have proven that they work so well. And the reason that you have these feelings and these emotions is probably through no fault of your own. The reason why you're having these feelings and these emotions will be to do with your programming, your belief system, and what other people have said to you in the past. And because you've never been taught how to manage these emotions and how to process them and how to release them, sometimes they can manifest as disease, as like illness, as things like acne and stuff like that. Like these emotions, trapped emotions, because you cannot manage them, they manifest as something physical. So no one has the power to make you feel better apart from you. You are the only person in your life that can make yourself feel better. And if you are putting others on a pedestal and saying, I will feel better when I meet this certain person, or when I start meeting people, or when people start respecting me, blah, 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 that's complete and utter BS, because there's nobody in this universe that you have the power. Every single time you say that I can't feel better because of this person, or these people are a-holes and they're stopping me from doing this and doing that, you're giving your power to them, you're giving your power away. So stop that, manage your emotions, and you will, and make yourself, what makes you feel better? What are the things that you can do to make yourself feel better? Is it by going for a walk outside? Is it maybe like going for a hot bath, booking a massage? What are there are things that you'll have done in your life that make you feel amazing. Remember what these are and use them, okay? It's time to start living the good life, right? And this card, the world, is showing us that heaven on earth is here. It always has been here. But because of the current paradigms, because of the way that the world is currently set up, it's hidden from us. It's esoteric. It's something that's not accessible to everyone unless you have been born into a certain lifestyle. But there's so many people who over the past hundreds and hundreds of years have been able to access this life, this heaven on earth lifestyle, by using their minds. Think of Napoleon Hill, think and Grow Rich, think of Oprah Winfrey. These people, there's so many people like that who have been able to come from nothing, come from poverty, come from hell, and turn their lives around and create heaven on earth for themselves by managing their emotions, by learning new things, by figuring out what makes them happy and doing it. Okay, awesome. So next one is King of Wands. Right, so we had this card way back at the start of the month, the first week of February reading, and if you can remember, what I said was every time I see a lizard or a snake or an amphibian, I see that as a sign from the universe that something good is going to happen. And something good did happen. Like so many amazing things happened for me that week, including like getting some amazing work, getting some money. Lots of really good things happened for me that week. So what happened to you that week? Did anything, if you can think back to the first week of February, you can go back and watch the video again if you want, but what did you see? Like, what I would love to know if anything amazing happened that week. So so yeah, this card is a card for entrepreneurs. Okay, so remember, we are working on managing our emotions and we're realizing that heaven on earth is, there's no better time and place to create heaven on earth but now. So this time that we're living in, there has never been another time on the planet where more people are becoming aware of their previous practices. They're becoming aware of an alternative lifestyle. They want to make things easier for themselves, whether that be like diet or lifestyle or exercise or whatever. So if you have an idea that can make life easier for people, then, and if you have an idea that is perhaps something slightly alternative that might not have been respected, or might not have been like, liked in past times, now is the time to do it. So now is the time, if you have a business idea, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to just try something new, now is absolutely the time to do it. And yeah, does your idea assist in the plan of heaven on earth? Because if it does, then it is definitely time to go ahead and get on with it. This card is a card for respect, maturity, friendship, communication and charisma. This card is so fascinating. I love putting all of these cards together, because remember our the previous weeks we had the Four of Cups or the Three of Cups, where there was the guy sitting behind under the tree. This card, which popped out of the pack straight after this one. This one was reply to the the get yourself out there card. This is a follow on from that, which basically tells me that you're putting yourself out there now. Great, awesome. You're finding friends, you're finding your tribe, amazing. There are people out there who want to hang out with you. There are people out there who want to be your friend, okay? There are people out there who respect you. There are people out there who understand where you're coming from and want to hear what you're saying. So if you've been hiding yourself away this whole time, like, just come on, stop it. Like, get yourself out there. Like, even if that means like joining a class or going to the gym and chatting with people after the class, put yourself out there. Like, you'll feel amazing, you'll feel great, and you'll get to meet people who you will, like, for example, I was at a party at the weekend, right, and I've been telling myself over the first party I've been to this year, the first party I've been to probably in about 6 months, because I had a tendency of like shutting myself away this past few months, so this past year in fact. And then I was at this party on Saturday night, and it was amazing because like I was sitting there talking to people going, oh my god, like, you're exactly the kind of person who I want to be talking to right now. I was telling myself for the past few months, like, universe, please send me people who know what I'm talking about, for starters, because sometimes I'll start talking about like meditation and tarot and the fifth dimension, heaven on earth, all this kind of stuff, and people are just like, don't have a clue, and also like just don't really care about that kind of stuff. They're focused on their job and their kids and their whatever. So I was like, right, universe, please send me people who know and love and want to hear what I have to say also. And then lo and behold, Saturday night at this party, it was happening. It was all these people, and they were just like, my jaw was really sore afterwards from like just talking all night. Not just me talking the whole time, listening as well. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. And that was my little mess. That was like my little signal as well, that like, there are people out there who want to hear what I have to say, and there are people out there who know exactly where you're coming from. So put yourself out there and you will find them. The last card is Five of Swords. So this is really just so spot on for what's going on in the world right now. Like, I can't even explain, but I will explain. So this card, Five of Swords, is give up the fight. Stop it. Stop fighting. Stop fighting with your kids. Stop fighting with your husband or wife. Stop fighting with your pals. Stop fighting with your colleagues. Stop it. Because the universe, the laws of the universe state, so like the cause and effect and the law of attraction and like things like that, like they basically say that what you think about, whether you want it or not. And every time that you do something else of the same that something that is of the same kind of idea will happen to you. So the more fighting you do, the more fighting you're going to get. And I love it because like I hear people who are like really harassed and they lecture their kids or they lecture their husband or their wives or whatever, and then they say, oh, geez, peace, or I just want an easy life. No, you don't. No, you're not giving yourself an easy life, because you're constantly just like pushing up against, like with resistance, pushing up against the universe and the world and these people who deserve more than a fight. So for example, what are you fighting for? So give it up. Like you could be fighting with an illness. What is that illness trying to tell you? Do you have trapped emotions? Do you have trauma? So we know that physical illness is a manifestation of, most of the time, a trauma that we have not cleared or processed, and a trapped emotion. So when we don't process and we don't deal with our trauma, and I'm not talking about like digging it up and going through it over and over and over and over again in your mind until, because that's just affirming the trauma and that's just making it living in hell daily, every day. What I'm talking about is going to speak to a counsellor about it, going to heal yourself, heal the trauma, heal the pain, heal the issue that you've had in the past, and moving forward from that, knowing that you have healed and that you're trying to work in a proactive fashion to heal yourself, heal your emotions, and healing your physical body. And then from that place, you can create a place of peace. So like the whole like war on drugs thing, the war on terror thing, we cannot have peace, we cannot have a time of joy and love and sanctuary, heaven on earth. We cannot have this if we're fighting all the time, okay? Because fighting makes more fighting, and it's not going to work. So what are you fighting about? Like, are you fighting with your past? Are you fighting with a trauma? Have you experienced something super traumatic that has made you become ill? Are you fighting with your health, mental health, physical health? What are you pushing up against? Because there will be something there in your past or in your emotions that you really, really have to look at and consciously say to yourself, I want to feel better. If you like, I know a lot of people who are woundologists, okay? So people who they perhaps don't enjoy it very much, but it's a bad habit they've gotten into. They love to affirm their wounds, and they love to, whether that be for sympathy or another reason, but they just really love to let everyone in the room know how much they're suffering, or they like to go on social media and just tell everyone how much of a bad day they're having and how the world is a really awful place to live. They can't catch a break. Every single time you say something like this to the world, you're affirming that exact state. So you will get nothing but that. Whereas if you can come up, bring your head out of the sand and say, wow, okay, something happened to me when I was a child, or something happened to me in the past 10 years and it really affected me, and it's now causing me to behave in a certain way or causing me to think in a certain way. That is your signal from your body to telling you that you need to deal with what it is that's going on. Go and seek counselling, go and seek guidance, go and speak to your doctor, go speak to anyone who can help you, and think in your mind, how can I heal this? And as soon as you start thinking that you want to feel better, you will automatically get the wheels turning, get the domino effect happening, and it is the best thing that you can do for your mental and physical health by saying, I give up the fight. I'm not fighting anymore. I want health, or I want well-being, or I want happiness, or I want abundance, or whatever it is that you want. Yeah, you can absolutely have it, because it's the time. Like, now is it, we're the world is changing, even though all the horrific stuff that's going on in the news, and like, we've never been alive on a better time on the planet. Like, poverty is at the lowest it's ever been, even though the world is still totally rife with poverty. Poverty is a mindset. Poverty is a way of being. It's not poverty. I'm not saying that people choose poverty, but it's a habit. It's a mental habit that's taught down to the generations, and especially those who were born around about the war. So the war was, anyone who lived through that period, it was very lack and scarcity focused. So with rationing and things like that, what you couldn't do, that has now like travelled on through our DNA, and it is expressed in my generation and the new generation before us, and we're now kind of going, that's not ours for a start. Like, we respect that, and we're grateful for those who put themselves on the front line for our protection and so that we could be born and live in this world. But we now know that poverty is a way of being. It's a way of thinking. It's an I can't have mentality. It's a there's not enough in the world for everyone mentality. When nature doesn't have that problem, like, go into a forest and you'll see that the plants and the trees aren't fighting over, money or whatever. Do you know what I mean? The world is such an abundant and beautiful place that lack and scarcity don't really exist, because there are people who have been on the planet before us who have come up from nothing, and they have created like immense wealth. They've healed their bodies, they've been through the ringer, and they have managed to completely change their lives. And how did they do that? They lifted their consciousness. They raised their consciousness from that of hate, lack, poverty, disease, and into love, into joy, into happiness, into health, into abundance. So we are doing that right now. The planet, because of the frequencies, the peaks and the troughs, the Schumann resonance, the planet Earth, her frequency is shifting, and she's raising her frequency. She's shaking off all of this, all of these systems that no longer function her, like poverty, like lack, like mass media control, all this rubbish, disease, all this stuff. She's shaking herself loose of all this rubbish, of all this crap, and she's raising her vibration, and she's bringing us into love and joy and health and abundance. And we can have it, we can access it now, but we have to fix what's going up in here. We have to fix what's going in our bodies before we can access this, because it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your chat is, what your background is, what your life was like in the past X amount of years. You can change your thoughts now. You can have heaven on earth. You can live heaven on earth right now. You just need to fix, and not fix as such, but like you have to, because I hate using the word fix, because there isn't really such thing as a quick fix. Like, you have to really kind of realize and know that it's here and you can have it. And I think that's about it. So yeah, the world has been kept in a cycle of fear, in a cycle of lack, in a cycle of poverty, in a cycle of control, in a cycle of us and them, in a cycle of you can't have this, but I'm going to have this, and there's not enough of this for everyone, so therefore there's not enough jobs, there's not enough money. Like the whole I'm not even going to get into it because that's just going to cause arguments. But like the whole, like, there's not enough benefits, there's not enough money here for us. They're taking our jobs, they're taking our benefits. It is complete and utter nonsense. There is enough for everyone. The world is an abundant, beautiful place. You have to recognize and know it and see it and start to live it, feel it, imagine it, and you will have it. Amazing. That is all I'm going to say. I've rambled on for half an hour. Whew. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And please let me know in the comments below if you have had any sort of experiences with what we've been saying and chatting about, what I've been talking about over the past few weeks. If anything has come up for you, please message me on Facebook and let me know. Please chat to me, open a dialogue. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to speak to you. I've also got a couple of meditations coming up as well on YouTube. Give them a look and a listen. And I will speak to you soon. Have a great week. Lots of love. Bye.